Oh, where's the internet thing? I don't know where the internet thing is. Oh, there it is, internet. Well, let's see here. Nisi, first one to the live chat. Jennifer J. Sarchicino. Valley Fish, what's up? Hans Hartman. And a Punky Pam. What's going on, everybody? It is Monday, and we have returned. We have returned to the lovely, lovely Tacoma internet area. Mr. Chips is back there looking at me all depressed. What's up, everybody? Just doing a what you call it? Like, ow, damn, bashed my leg. We're doing a live stream, sort of impromptu live stream this morning while I kind of am editing a bunch of video from our trip. And I just wanted to say hi to everybody and come on and just kind of I guess be chill for Monday morning, because it is going to be another hot one here in Tacoma. It's going to be 90-something today. And apparently, I don't know if it's clouds or if the smoke is back or not. I don't know if the smoke is back or if it's just cloudy or whatever. We don't have any video segment in this live stream this morning, but as I was saying earlier, we do have a whole bunch of video that we're editing through in regards to pig farming, hanging out in Alaska, doing stuff in Alaska, and also going whitewater rafting here in Washington, and along with traveling to the eastern side of Washington. It has been a hectic past 10 days or something along those lines, and so I just wanted to get on and like talk some shop and say what's up, and actually say, hey, we are actually back. We have returned. Victoria and I had a great time. We were gone for, let's count them up here, well, that's 7, 10. We were gone about 10 days altogether, and I'm sure some of you out there noticed that we were able to live stream not very often. More often than not, we were out of any kind of service area, so there wasn't really any way to live stream from most places or anything along those lines. There's just no service, so you can't live stream where there's no service. You can't send up a video where there's zero service. So that was one of the issues that we were consistently running into. There just ain't no internet where we was, or even cell phone service for that matter. Oh, and Big Pedro with the surprises. It is Monday. It's Good Surprise Monday. It is 10 o'clock a.m. here in the lovely Western Washington, where we reside. But we did manage to get a couple of videos out to you guys showing off some of the area. I kind of reviewed those and took a look at those and realized how bad the quality is when streaming directly through a cell phone signal. They couldn't even handle uploading after processing. A lot of the video is kind of terrible. But alas, that's as good as the technology gets when you're out in the bush. I mean, you know, that, for lack of a better way to put it, that's where that pig farm is. It's realistically out there. It's out. You got to go. You got to go out, and you got to go out to an area where there just ain't no other people around. There's just really not that many. Kind of funny, though, in the real basic terms, is that with not a lot of people around, you actually get to know your neighbors and stuff, which is something that I think is paramountly important to the future of our whatever human race we want to call ourselves. So I think getting into more of that is going to be important moving forward. Let's talk about the fish tanks here for a little bit. I do have a bunch of fish video that I'll be doing today, most likely, because we have a lot of maintenance to do, and I want to show you guys kind of what my tanks look like after not being maintained realistically for almost 2 weeks. While I did a little bit of maintenance when we stopped by, we basically came back from Alaska and then hit the road again. We did a tiny bit of maintenance while we were here, but not too much to really interfere with showing what it's like when we're gone for 10 days and the tanks are just kind of sitting there and nobody's messing with them or anything like that. So we got some of that video will be coming out also. I have to say, I did have a huge scare yesterday. I thought that the reef had crashed while we were out rafting and cavorting around the freeway system of Western Washington here. But so a quick explanation on that. I thought that the fire shrimp was dead. The Goniopora wasn't open. And I couldn't find the anemone, the main purple anemone, although there are actually 2 anemones in there. I'll try to get some shots of the little baby guy at some point in time here fairly soon if he's out in an area where I can get a picture of him. Oh, and Eve Daigel's here. What's up, Eve? Yeah, I am back, and we have returned. This is the triumphant return video, I guess. And just kind of chatting about what's been going on and what we're doing. Like I said, I have a ton of video coming out from all of the stuff that we did. Although a lot of it will actually be a lot of still pictures and stuff like that. So it's actually going to be kind of like going to Grandpa's slideshow, Grandpa's vacation slideshow. But that's realistically how we had to shoot a lot of the stuff. We didn't have a ton of time for shooting elaborate videos or anything along those lines, but we do have some video, a portion for sure, of some of the stuff that we did. But yeah, it was kind of a eye-opening experience of what I necessarily need to bring equipment-wise. I am getting better and better at bringing the right camera equipment with us on trips. But as we talked about before I left, when we went to Alaska, I actually took this Canon, the M2, the M as in Michael 2, which is a really reasonable camera and actually works and does get some good shots and stuff like that. But it is terribly inefficient at doing a ton of video. So we didn't shoot a ton of video with it. We just ended up shooting a lot of stills of stuff that was going on around us. So bear in mind that if you do show up for those live streams and those videos and stuff, that we will just be going through a lot of stills and stuff like that. But if y'all want to watch that, cool. If not, I know my mom will like to watch it, so we'll do that up, and my mom will watch it, and maybe you guys won't. which yeah, you know, ultimately is fine by me. Speaking of why we were so busy with going around to Eastern Washington was to visit my sister and my mom and her husband, who were out in Eastern Washington. And as some of you know, my sister lives in Kentucky. I live in Washington. My sister lives in Kentucky. So it is pretty rare that she would actually fly back here. So she's back here, and we might... I think they're stopping by on Tuesday night too, which is cool to see, to get an opportunity to see my family. So we did that, and we also saw a lot of Vicky's family while we were gone, which was super cool and great to see a lot of those people. We actually met her nephew, her new nephew, little guy. He's just like baby size, you know what I mean? He's just like a little baby guy. But that was fun. Traveling around actually nowadays is a lot easier than it was just even a few short years ago. The airport used to just be pure chaos, which now I think people have kind of fallen into a rhythm with actually moving around. So it's not as bad as it was even just a couple of years ago to try and catch a flight or do any of that kind of stuff. Although I would say I do have a few criticisms of maybe the individual people that you encounter when you're out there in the world. And this is something that I think is an ongoing problem, is when somebody will just answer your question with just some nonsense, you know? So when basically when we went to SeaTac here, which is the international airport here, we so we put our packs. So we had our packs with our we had our backpacks with all of our gear, our sleeping bags and tents and chairs and all that kind of stuff, all campy stuff for basically backpacking. And so when you go to the airport, it's good to take that and stick it inside a giant bag that they have there. They're like these big plastic bags. And it keeps all of your straps and things from getting caught in those like, what do you call those? The motorized nonsense that drags your bags around. Well, the straps have a tendency to get caught on the machinery. There we go. How about let's just call it machinery, right? Have a tendency to do that. So you put it in a big giant bag and zip tie it up and put all your information on the outside of it and put the tags on it and all that. In SeaTac, that was completely normal, and it was not deemed an odd situation. But coming back from Anchorage, you know, we're on the same airline. You know, it wasn't even a different airline. But the people there are like, oh, well, you know, we don't do it that way here. Obviously, Seattle's like a different city. You know, it's different. They do it differently there. But, I kind of talked to the gal, and I was like, seems like you guys do the exact same thing here, and it's probably internationally regulated. And then, so we walk over to a different person, and they're like, oh, yeah, the bags are right over here. And that's something that I generally run into with people, that they'll just start telling you some kind of insane story. Maybe they don't have the answer, but why don't you just say, you know what, I don't know where those are. Let me find somebody else or something. It just seems odd to me, and that's the kind of stuff that you run into. Same with like the Uber setup nowadays at the airport. When you try to go just catch an Uber, it's like total chaos. And if you try to talk to somebody there, they're like, well, you know, we don't really have that sorted out. And it's like, well, Uber's been around for years now, and it's this huge traffic jam of Uber drivers trying to get in and out of the airport. Why haven't you addressed this situation, considering you're the airporters? You know, like it's weird. I don't know. It's ongoingly strange, but that is starting to bug me with people in the world when you roll up on them and they're just like start telling you some nonsense. Dwayne Kitchell, what's up, Internet? Dwayne Kitchell's here. Hey, FU2 is up in this house, I guess. Up in the house. What? What's up, Hey FU2? And G-Bear's here. What up? Been going through live streams withdrawals. Oh, sorry about that. You know, we've been gone. And so we've been out of town and all that kind of stuff. We did a couple live streams, and like I said earlier, that I reviewed the video on that, and it was just so terrible. So luckily, I did shoot some video where we live streamed from, so you guys actually get to get a better impression of the area in actual clarity of video. So I'll be uploading that kind of stuff later. We'll probably be doing some of that as a live stream and some of those as just standalone videos. But I do wanted to talk a little bit of business in regards to the channel and the live stream and all the stuff that we're doing, because I know a lot of people are going like, well, hey man, what's happening? Are you going away? Are you going to stop doing this? Are you going to da-da-da? Well, Vicky and I had a lot of conversations about what we're doing here and what is going on. So I want to continue doing the live streams, and Vicky also wants to continue doing the live streams. So we've we had a lot of conversations about what we want to do, what the plan is moving forward. And so one of the things that we want to do is to try and uniform the time that we're live streaming. Now, one of the big issues with that is that if I live stream during the day like now, and I have to go out on jobs. I have to go out on jobs to go do work at other locations. So if I try to do them during the day all at the same time, then I run into the problem that I have to go out on the job sites and do that stuff. So then I end up missing a live stream, and then people are like, dude, what the hell happened on Tuesday? Where were you? And I'm like, I'm just throwing stuff off of a roof somewhere in Yakima or whatever. We're going to try to uniform when the videos are going out as far as the live streams and stuff. So and that is still a work in progress of when we can iron that out. This week we'll be here during the daytime. So I'll probably be doing, honestly, a short video in the morning time, sometime around between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which I say specific, I mean Pacific, you know what I'm saying? You get jokes, right? Everybody gets bad jokes. So I'm going to try to do that, and then I'm going to try and move into a time slot of 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time during the week. So I'm going to continue to try to do 5 live streams a week, and then put out some of the edited videos on the weekend. And that will be what we're trying to do moving forward. So I'm still going to try to do 5 a week as far as the live streams go. So I'll actually be here to interact with you guys and answer questions. If you guys have questions and stuff like that, feel free to put them in the live stream chat, or you guys can always just comment, and I have a tendency to get to them probably the next day or whatnot when a live stream is going up. I try to answer those as much as I can. And then... So a lot of that comes down to your guys' support and what's going on. If we want to continue moving forward on what we're doing here, I need to be able to iron out this time. And in order to do that, we're going to keep moving forward with the Patreon page. If you guys haven't checked out the Patreon page, you guys can hop on there and patronize. I know a bunch of people have already patronized on here. What that money goes to is actually producing this and ironing out the time to actually be here for doing the show, doing the live stream, and doing this stuff, because actually I have to be present and accounted for in order to actually do it. So if you haven't checked out the Patreon, you can go there. One of the big things is to get rid of all advertising. I don't want to have any advertising on my platform. I don't want to have YouTube throwing in random commercials and any of that kind of stuff. So that's one of the big things that we've been trying to move forward on, and eliminate those weird advertisements for, Chevy trucks or absinthe or whatever the hell pops up. So it's the weirdest stuff always pops up, and I'm not a huge fan of advertising and that kind of stuff, so I guess I'll just do my own advertising, I guess, of what we're doing. As Jennifer is saying, oh man, I work at 4 every day. What, you work at 4 p.m. in the afternoon? Like, you go to work at 4? Well, if you go to work at 4, I did the live stream at 8. Well, I don't know your work schedule, but we'll figure it out. I would like to continue doing some of the nighttime, evening time live streams. But like I said, it's all about ironing out the time and the availability to be able to do it. I was pretty happy with doing them in the evening, although that's taking time away from my spouse and I spending time together. So doing it during the day is probably going to work a little bit better. Wait, what was I talking about? Hold on. Where'd my train of thought go? Oh, doing it during the day would actually work a little bit better as our evening time together, that we can spend our evening time together. But I do have some intention of doing some of the evening live stream type stuff moving forward. And maybe one of the things that I thought about doing is titling them differently so that we know, so that we have a good idea of what maybe the content would be a little bit better. And maybe I'll do the nighttime ones where it's a little more adult, I guess, or whatever. My channel is a little more adult orientated, I guess. It's like PG-13. I mean, I do swear sometimes or whatever, and I don't limit people's conversation and stuff like that by, you know, people saying shit. It's like, oh, you said shit, man. Freak out. I'm not that guy. This isn't Blue's Clues. This isn't intended for 5-year-olds to be watching anyhow. So to those of you out there that don't enjoy or freak out about that kind of stuff, cool, man. I get it. I get it. But this is not intended for the first grade. Oh, Wushu Jimmy Brown, what's up? Question, how deep is the ocean? The deep is so deep. It's so deep, my man. It's like, how deep is your love? Right? Yeah, Jennifer, you have a crazy schedule. That schedule makes no sense to me. You work 1 to 5 and then 6 to 10. I wouldn't know how to work around that one anyhow. But either way, like I said, I'm going to try and do a morning live stream for sure. And try to do one in the afternoon or evening, depending on how the schedule is going to work. I know a lot of people got back to me that one of the biggest deals with, when I'm going to put air quotes around this, like YouTube success, was to be uploading all at the same time and being super consistent when you upload and whatnot. But I get what that's all about. But I guess the whole reason for the internet is to actually have live, to me, is to actually have live interactivity, right? And the weird nonsense of like a show being on at 8 o'clock on Friday night and that's the only time you could ever see it seems so far in the past. It seems so archaic to be like, this is our airtime and this is when it comes out. I don't know about you guys, but I fully appreciate like the Netflix style of, we made the whole series. Here's the series. Watch all the episodes. If you want to watch them all directly in a row, you can. If you want to watch them one every month, you could do it that way. To me, I feel like that's a big part of the internet. So that's why I have been kind of loosey-goosey as to when these go. If you want, you can turn on the notifications. If not, you could always just watch this later or whatever. And I know it's thrown off a lot of people. A lot of people got upset, and a lot of people are a little grouchy about it. Or on the analytics side, a lot of people on the analytics side are like, whoa, you got to upload all at the same time, all the time, the same time. And I'm like, well, it doesn't matter when I upload. Like, okay, so here's an example. So like Joel Gillett, right? He is in New Zealand, and I think New Zealand, it's like 4 a.m. right now or something like that. It's 4 a.m. in the morning, and it would be super inconvenient for him to be on right now, right? Because we're across the globe. There's really no perfect time for me to upload stuff or when to be on or anything that's going to fit everybody's schedule and stuff. But so I'm not going to fall into doing too much scheduling of this. This is just what I'm going to try to do during the day as we're moving forward, to try and fall into these kind of time slots that are going to work good. They're going to work well. They're going to work well for us. So if that kind of makes sense, let me catch up on the chat here a little bit. Eve Daigle likes Blue's Clues. I like Blue's Clues too. But that's not what this show is. So that's just one of those, it's one of those things. This channel is, maybe like 16 and over, or maybe 13 and over, because it's kind of PG-13, I guess, is what has been described to me. by some trusted people that this would be kind of PG-13, I guess. There's nothing racy or nonsensical on here, and I'm never swearing at people. I'm generally just, sometimes I swear, I guess, and that turns off a lot of people for whatever reason, and cool. So I also got some advice that was like, oh wow, man, you should really like polish your content, and you really should like, you know, make sure that you have scripts and do all these things that like that Blue's Clues, like I was mentioning Blue's Clues, and you were having a laugh about that. I'm certainly not going to censor myself to a point. There's just no reason for me to do that. And I would be lying if I said somebody walked in here and gave me $1 million check to read a script. I probably would read a script, but I would also, here's the important part, I would have also said, yeah, I'm reading from a script. Here's my job. I'm going to put on a tie and a weird shirt and a jacket, and we're going to sit in front of a green screen that's going to be like, it's the news, or whatever. And that's not what I'm about. So if, and I've said this before on the live stream, if somebody wants to, you know, come in and give me like $1 million check to do that kind of shit, I'll do that stuff, but that's not who I am. And if it feels wrong to me to like come out and like act like that, because that's not really how I act, in person. And in my interpersonal relationships, I'm kind of just like I'm kind of a guy who's just going to say it like how I see what's going on. I do make mistakes and missteps in my life, but I try to just represent exactly who I am. And if you actually met me in a room or whatever, I would probably be pretty close to like how I do this show. And I feel like that's important for me to represent myself that way, because this is me representing myself, right? So I've obviously gotten off on a weird tangent here, but that's kind of what's going to keep happening with the channel moving forward, right? And that's one of the things. I mean, maybe this channel will never have 500,000 followers or any of that kind of stuff or whatever. Okay, I get it. It's all good, but I'm not going to suddenly, from a lot of the conversations with some of the professionals and stuff that we had over the last while, and is that a lot of people had advice for me to like kind of change what I'm doing. And honestly, if it's like technical advice, awesome. If it's, hey man, I really like this thing, could you do more of that, or da-da-da-da, like all that stuff has been fantastic, and it's definitely been received, and I'm gonna do my damnedest to apply some of that stuff to make a better product. But I'm certainly not going to like censor myself or make it into some kind of like some kind of weird kids show. I mean, I'm not Mr. Rogers. I love Mr. Rogers. He's fucking fantastic. I love that guy. And you guys that follow me on Facebook know that I share Mr. Rogers videos and stuff. But that's not what I'm about. That's not what I'm doing here. I've had a lot of youngsters over the years come along and ask me questions and stuff, and a lot of times I'll give them the direction to like maybe go talk to somebody else that might be a better direction for you, for like somebody like Corey from Aquarium Co-op. Like that guy's awesome, especially for real young kids. I mean, he's really good at that. Personally, I'm not, and it's not necessarily like who I am, you know what I mean? So I mean, you will get my opinion. My opinion's been wrong before, for sure. I do my best to try and get information out to you guys and try and share my experiences with you guys. And so that's a lot of the stuff that I'm going to keep doing. I'm way behind on the chat. Way behind on the chat. So let's catch up with it here. Dwayne Kitchell. So it's 2017. Yeah. Yep. Oh, Potato Bros here. What's up, man? You need to upload as soon as I first sit at my computer and open my browser. Okay, I will do that. If Potato, if you remember to text message me, then I can do that. Hans Hartman, 726 there in Sweden. Oh, there you go. It's like evening time in Sweden, so maybe our European buddies will be able to show up at some point here. Nisi, but you need to please all the people all the time if you want to grow. Yeah, yeah. I just want to please everybody all the time, forever. Wushu Jimmy Brown, but this isn't nonsensical. Yeah, I mean, I'm a fairly nonsensical person, and I really have a tendency to go off on the weird tangents and lose my own thought process, for sure. Nisi's saying, do what you got to do. We'll show up when we can. Yeah, I mean, if you guys like what's going on here, if you like what's happening, I'm going to keep doing it. I'm just going to try and up the game here. We're going to keep upping the game as much as we can, if that makes sense. If that makes sense, I'm just going to keep trying to up the game here and keep going. We have looked through a lot of the analytics. As far as, you know, YouTube does provide a lot of analytics dependent on what... It's very intricate analytics. There's a lot of information there to kind of absorb. We kind of went and piled through it, and we're pretty happy with the direction that things are going. Are our views up? No. Our views have pretty much stagnated, but our viewer time is up. People are watching and stuff, if that makes sense. So I'm very happy with that. If our community stays small, it stays small, and I'm cool with that, and it's not going to be a big deal moving forward. As I said with the Patreon earlier, we have a bit of funding coming in from the Patreon, which is going to help us get some equipment and some things. And hopefully at some point in time, we'll get more people to come on here, because now we actually have a setup with 2 mics and stuff. Vicky will be coming on more and more as time progresses here, because I very much enjoy having her on here. And it is a lot of fun. So let's see on the chats here. Eve Daigle walks into a room and yells surprise. I do walk into a room and yell surprise sometimes. Dwayne Kitchell's asking, how did the creatures do while we were gone? That is going to be one of the updates that's coming up later today. I do have some updates. I have some art updates. We have a whole bunch of stuff that's coming up. I just wanted to make sure that I wanted to get out here and do a hello and talk a little shop with you guys about some of the stuff that's been going on, some of the decisions that we've been making. So I'm not throwing them into the later videos that are coming out today and tomorrow and throughout the week. And just kind of talk a little bit of shop and just say hey and see what's going on. I haven't shaved yet this morning, so I'm going to have to bust a quick shower after I've already fed the chickens and watered the garden and done some of that stuff. I also have some housework and some other things that are going, laundry and things. So I just wanted to pop on, and then before I sit down here, I've been doing some of the editing and getting a lot of the video clips and images and all that stuff kind of filed into a video format, so we'll be able to run through those at some point in time. Was there a ghost behind me? What was that? Was that a freaking ghost? I'm not sure. Even Dwayne's comments make me feel like I'm a minute behind. Cell phone data problems. Going to yell at my phone to work faster. Good point. I'm sorry. I was in Alaska dealing with the cell phone problem, so I get exactly what you mean by that. It had gotten a little bit difficult with the very limited amount of access and connectivity that is right now in Alaska. And a big part of that is just how big Alaska is. Alaska is freaking huge, man. When you're up there, you start to realize exactly how big that stuff is. Joel, if you just did these streams standing on one leg, all would be right in the world. Oh, Dwayne, you brought up a point that actually hits home to on a personal level. Last night, I really kind of disjointed my right knee, so there may be some doctor updates here coming up fairly soon. I'm gonna ice it over the next day or two and see how it goes. Hopefully, all I did was pop it and didn't really screw anything up. But if it is screwed up, we'll see what this ends up turning into. So I could probably do it on my left leg, but I probably couldn't do it standing on my right leg. Mr. Rogers was a badass Navy SEAL. That is right. Mr. Rogers was a Navy SEAL and a badass American. Totally awesome dude. I love that guy. I love that dude. But this isn't Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood show. So, you know, I just happen to be a different guy. Is what that all kind of comes down to. Haha, boys and girls, show like a little shit. Yep. I'm back, boys and girls. Abuse your cell data or you'll get slowed way down. Yeah, don't abuse your cell data. Well, Alaska was crazy as far as the cell phone service went, though. Wushu Jimmy Brown, not as many new people are tuning in, but those that are sticking around for longer. Got it. Yeah, so that's a lot of the analytics that we went through are, like I said, the YouTube analytics are, there's a lot to them, especially how long my channel has been up. It's kind of difficult to go through a lot of it. And there's a lot of information, and it's a lot of information and a lot of stuff, but people do, they are watching, like our views aren't up or any of that kind of stuff. As to some of the people out there that I talk to that are way big into developing like YouTube channels and stuff like that, it has come up multiple occasions, even from some people that are just kind of in the know, is that we have been punished pretty hard for the long break that I took, as far as YouTube goes. For whatever reason, the algorithm gets super pissed off because I took basically a year off when I got sober, and just took a lot of time working through my own issues and problems and stuff, and just didn't have a ton of time for making videos and getting out to you guys and stuff. So we have gone through that, and we seem to be kind of cresting, or at least getting over the edge of whatever that issue is. And but as I said, with the analytics, it says that most of the same subscribers and viewership and stuff has continued on, which means to me that, like, oh hey, the main core people that show up for this stuff are showing up, and then that's realistically pretty darn cool as far as I'm concerned. And we seem to keep going down this road. Hopefully it is a good road, and we'll all be happy with it. Yeah, if that makes sense, if that makes any lick of sense. Jennifer says, sorry about the knee. Hope it's just a strain. I really hope it's a strain too. It did. So on my right leg, I have problems because my hip has been dislocated. My knee has been dislocated from just being a general, lots of jackassery, really. There really isn't a better way to describe it than just being a general nincompoop, maybe. Maybe that's a good one. A thrill seeker, maybe. But that that will probably be an ongoing issue with my life. So hopefully I just popped it and that's all that it did. I've had this happen before, and although this feels a little bit different, which is the unfortunate, or the kind of frightening part, is that it feels a little different than it has before. But then again, maybe my memory's a little bit off. Oh, I just want to mention on the thumb note, the thumb is growing back, and it should be relatively thumb-like here in probably a month or two, once the rest of this nail bed grows back in. But on a nasty thumb note, we were actually out camping, and some of our friends that were there were like, damn man, I can't believe you were uploading pictures of your disgusting thumb. It was freaking me out when I was going through my Facebook feed. And so maybe just a thumb update for y'all. It's growing back, and it's not as gross to look at now as it definitely once was. That is for sure. So let's see here. Carson, my man, what's up? He was I was asking how was rafting. Rafting was great. Actually, rafting was fantastic. I have some video of the approach and stuff, and some shots of the river that we went down. Dog. Sorry, the dog was doing a thing. But I do have some video of the approach and where we rafted from, where we left. and some of the river and stuff like that. This actually was a super chill river. There were some good kind of like actiony parts with some class 4s and stuff like that, but then it realistically was a real mellow float. Like I said, there was some action parts, but it wasn't crazy. And just as a heads up, we are heading out on the 9th of September to go raft the Tieton River. And we drove by the Tieton River yesterday. And I will say, the water looks high. It looks action-packed. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. So we are looking forward to rafting the Tieton again. If you guys remember from last year, we did the Tieton, and it is a wild ride. I think it's like 10, and don't misquote me here, but I think it's about a 10-mile float. You start up, drop in, and it is just a bum rush the whole entire time. So when we did the Skagit this last weekend, it is kind of the opposite. There's a couple little parts that are a little buck wild. We went around a couple of eddies and things and kind of surfed some nonsense in the raft, because luckily our raft guide Hal, which I do have some pictures of Hal, and you guys will be very he's a very interesting character, and he looks just like a very interesting character should look. He's a very good guide and a very good guy, and he definitely takes us down and gives us a little more opportunity than the average situation. Just having built a friendship and relationship with that dude, he's always the guy that does our guide, because he hooks it up. You know what I'm saying? So, but when we went down the Skagit, it was really relaxing. There's really some good parts where you just kick back for like a half an hour and just check out some of the majesty of that forest and the rocks and all the crazy stuff that is going on around there. Everything hanging off over into the river and all that stuff. And then there's also some action-packed parts that were pretty fun, but it was certainly fun. We went with some friends of ours, and it was a great time to just kind of chat in the boat and do all that kind of stuff. And our friend Joe that came was like, man, this is the perfect way to get away for the weekend, because we came out Friday night, we camped that night. I made some roast chicken with wild rice and chickpeas and lentils. I made like a stew like that, which was actually I thought it came out pretty good. I don't know if it was a 10, maybe an 8. I'd call it like an 8. So it was pretty good. We had a lot of food to eat. Then we had like strawberry shortcakes, hang out, camp, get up in the morning, break down camp. Then we went on the rafting, and then the rafting was over by about 2 o'clock. So it gives you just enough time to kind of like hang around and kind of tool around in the mountain a little bit, and then head back and probably get in a little bit late on Saturday night. But then you get to sleep in your own bed on Saturday night, get up Sunday, do all your Sunday stuff, and get ready to go back to work. It kind of just worked out perfectly, and that is kind of a perfect little way to kind of get away. So that worked out fantastically. And like I said, the Skagit actually was pretty mellow. Cold and clear at this time of year, so it was cold, but you know, what are you going to ask from a river? Like, you're going to ask a river to heat up, and then the water just goes that way, and then it's gone, and then the cold water takes its place. So, but it was pretty fantastic, honestly, as far as far as that kind of stuff goes, and also, like I said, it was a it was a fantastic little trip to go on. And then we took off from there and went through Eastern Washington, which was blazing hot this time of year. It's like 110. Although my sister was like, yeah, I said it was going to be over 100. It was only 95. I don't know. Some people's kids, right? Some people's sisters, right? Well, I've never seen the episode with Mr. Rogers in the pup tent, but I did see the Mr. Rogers breakdancing one. The Mr. Rogers breakdancing video is probably the best thing that you've ever seen. You should look up that one. That one is fantastic. Wushu Jimmy Brown, squatting and stuff is supposed to help with knee issues, at least in terms of strengthening the muscles around the knee, helping it to stabilize. Yeah, I have to definitely get back into doing some squats and stuff. Definitely get back into doing some squats and some deep knee bends. Some deep knee bends and some power squats. It's probably power squats! Come on, Mr. Chips! Power squats! It's a good puppy. Come here. Come here. He's a good puppy. Oh, doggy yoga. The dog's over here doing doggy yoga. Is that downward facing dog? Yeah, come here. Up, 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 up. Up, up. Oh, come here. He doesn't want to hop up. Mr. Chips, he's a little dog. Say hello. Say hello. Say hello, Mr. Chips. It's Mr. Chips. Oh, Mr. Chips. Okay, buddy. That's Mr. Chips. He's a good dog. The pup tent was not cooperative. Good thing he didn't have a gun. Oh, so the pup tent was a disaster on the Mr. Rogers show. I'm going to definitely look that up after this. Wushu just looked at picture of my thumb. It almost looks hollow. Yeah, it was hollow. Hollowed it out. Basically hollowed the thumb out. Eradicated everything out. And was magical. Was magical delight because the doctors were like, good luck, bud. And I was like, well, I'm pretty confident it's going to grow back. And they were like, yeah, you're weird. And I was like, okay. So I ended up going back to a couple of appointments, and then eventually they said, yeah, it's growing back like you said it was going to, and yeah, stop coming in here. So I stopped going in there, and it's healing back just fine. So it worked out. My husband says the pupperoonies are being good servants when they bow to him. I think they're just doing yoga. I think they're just doing yoga, getting a little stretch, a little downward-facing dog action. All right, guys. Well, let's not overstay my welcome for today, but I will do a shameless plug for the stuff that we're doing here. If you guys haven't gone to the Patreon, you guys can go to the Patreon and help support this channel and the stuff that we're doing here. If you like, if not, you don't have to. It's www.patreon.com/Joel_C. Pretty easy to get to. Not very difficult at all. If you haven't been to Patreon, it's basically a crowdsourcing page where you can essentially do, it's a monthly charge. So once a month you can go like, hey, I want to give $5 for this programming. We talked about how we don't want to have advertising. We'd rather everything be funded independently so that we're able to, I basically have a list of everybody who funds this, and it actually gives you guys a voice. It actually gives you guys a voice in the stuff that's going on. If you basically were to email me and go like, hey man, I need to see more videos about Valsneria or whatever, I would go, oh, cool, man. That's Jimmy or somebody, or Jimmy Sashimi Whiskey is one of our Patreons, right? So if he was to send in a message, he would go, hey man, it's me, Jimmy. I want to see a video about you, I don't know, pouring concrete or Valsneria or some shrimp stuff that's kind of weird. I'm trying to figure out something or whatever. Basically, we give you a voice to go like, hey man, I'm one of your supporters. What up? And I'd be like, oh, hey, cool, man. You're one of the supporters. I'll work on that project. So that's a really cool aspect of it that I really like. It is it's a full disclosure site too. So you guys can actually go on there and see exactly how many Patreons and how much is going in a month, and if we're hitting whatever goals we want to hit and stuff like that. To those of you out there that maybe don't have any money or anything, the Patreon is a great way to do it. You could chip in $1 a month. You can go from $1 a month up to hundreds of millions if that's what you're so inclined to do. You could do 100, you could do 500, you could do whatever you want to do. And if you had like no money and you want to do $1, that's a great way to do it. We do have some $1 subscribers on there, so that is also cool and more than welcome, and an easy way for me to contact you guys with stuff that's coming up. One thing I never want to do is ever have anything behind a paywall, okay? If you've ever been to a paywall site where you like go somewhere and you're like, oh, I need to sign up and pay to get in to go and do something. It's like pay for play, that kind of stuff. I don't ever want to have anything behind a paywall at all, ever, for sure. I don't ever want to have anything behind a paywall, so that those of you out there that maybe can't even afford $1 a month, you'll still be able to come on and check it out and stuff like that without having to watch a bunch of unsolicited bullshit commercials, which drive me up the wall. So either way, that's what's kind of going on today. Well, I'm going to go edit here. As Wushu is saying, I'm overstimulated and need a nap. I'm not actually going to nap. I'm actually going to get double time down to work here and hopefully cool it out a little bit before we come back on in the afternoon and get some editing done to show you guys some of the stuff that we've been up to, screwing around and traveling around and doing all this kind of stuff. So, but that's what's up today. Have a fantastic afternoon, and we'll be checking in with you later today. And yeah, so that's the cool thing. We are back. Things are going on, and things will be continuing going on. So I think in my world, that's a double thumbs up. Maybe is this only 1.5? I think this is 1.5 thumbs up, right? I guess you'd have to have 2 thumbs to give 2 thumbs up. So have a great day out there, everybody. We'll be back later with more video and less just me talking directly into a microphone. But we got to find the button. Where is the button? Where is the button? Where is the button? I found the button. Latro, yo.